How would you like to have upfront and in-your-face vocals every single time that you mix a song? My name is Andrew Aurora, and I help artists, producers, and mixers bring their creative vision to life through mixing and mastering. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button as I put out a video like this every single week, and hit that notifications bell so that way you never miss a video. And today I'm going to be talking about how I get upfront and in-your-face vocals every single time that I mix a song, and walk you guys through my vocal chain step by step so that way you guys can do the exact same thing. So let's jump right in. So what we have in front of us here is a session from the song The Art of Tactful Procrastination by the artist Ender Bowen. And if you want to check out his music, I will leave a link to all of his stuff in the description of this video. And what we're going to be focusing on here is the lead vocal for this song. So pretty much what I have going on here is, let's just start with, what you can see. So I've got a duplicate of the lead vocal. There's two lead vocals. And the reason that I do this is because I find that duplicating the lead vocal really helps get it up front and in your face. And this is actually a trick I picked up from one of my favorite mixers of all time, Billy Decker. And he's been doing this for years, and I've been doing this for quite some time. And I just find that it really is one of the best ways to get the vocal nice up front and in your face. The next thing that we have here is that these are actually both linked channels. So basically I've got a vocal chain here, and if I change something on one of these plugins on this channel, then it will change it on the other channel. Let me show you. So if I adjust the input on one compressor, it'll adjust it on the other. So these are exact copies of each other, and these channels are linked. So basically anything I do to one channel is going to happen to the other. And what I have here is I just have a vocal chain that I use every single time I mix a song, which pretty much always sounds good and gets the vocals right where I want them. And one thing that's really, really important is to make sure that you have your gain staging right, or else you're not going to hit this vocal chain the way that you need to. And the way that I do gain staging is I like to make sure that I have 50% of the whole track covered by the waveform of the track that I'm working with, and then about 25% of empty space up top and 25% below. So that way basically it's 50-50. Pretty much, imagine like an invisible line going right through this, since it's a stereo track, and imagine there being about like 25% space here, 25% space here, and this waveform taking up about 50%. And I just adjust that with clip gain, so that way I can visually see where my volumes are hitting on the waveform just by using clip gain, and I will know that it's hitting my vocal chain at least pretty close to where I want it to every single time. So now let's walk through exactly what I have on my vocal chain and what it's doing. Now real quick, I wanted to interrupt this video to mention my free resource, The Essentials Guide to Becoming a Beast at Mixing and Mastering. This free resource includes a step-by-step mixing guide, a list of what I feel are the most important things for you to focus on to become a beast at mixing and mastering, my favorite mixing and mastering tips, and my favorite resources such as my favorite books and favorite ear training programs to help you develop a strong foundation for yourself on your mixing and mastering journey. And if you want to pick this up, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of this video. And of course, if you'd like a chance to work with me, there's also a link in the description to apply to work with me as well. Now on to the rest of the video. So first things first, I have the CLA 76 mono compressor, and this compressor is here really just to tame the peaks and to level out the vocal a little bit. And I really like how this compressor sounds for just kind of keeping the vocal leveled out. The next thing that we have is we've got the Pro Q3 just ducking a little bit of low end here that allows the vocals to kind of have their own space in the mix and not have that boominess that a lot of vocals have. Then we've got the SSL, which boosts just a little bit of top end around 10K just for a little bit of air on the vocal. And then from there, we've got another compressor. We've got Pro C set on vocal mode with a slow attack, fast release, and usually I'm aiming for around 3 dB of compression on this compressor. And then we have another compressor, the RVox Mono, which this compressor really does a lot of the heavy lifting, and we usually aim again for around 3 dB of compression on this compressor, and it really helps get the whole vocal in your face. Then we've got a couple de-essers, and the reason I have two de-essers is because I usually find that with one de-esser you have one of two issues. You either have the one working too hard and causing a lisp, or one is just not enough. So I like to layer my de-essers, and these are kind of subject to change. So I may adjust the settings a little bit so that way I get the S's under control for that individual song, but most of this stuff actually stays pretty close to the same for every single song that I mix. So let me just play the vocal real quick without any of this vocal chain on.
It'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over before they even start. Maybe it's true. You can hang it on the star. It's not what you want.
So it doesn't sound bad, especially considering it looks like Ender actually did some compression on the way in, but it's definitely not locked into the mix. So let's start, turning on each individual aspect of this chain one at a time. So let's start off with the CLA 76 and see how much compression we're doing.
Smoke going on in your heart. It'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over the.
So you can see we're doing around 7 dB of compression, which usually I would say that that's like a lot on a compressor. But for this particular compressor, I think it sounds really good. I like this compressor hitting anywhere from around maybe 3 to upwards of 7 dB of compression. I just think it sounds good. So that's usually what I aim for on this compressor. And if it needs more or less, I'll just adjust the input gain on the compressor. No big deal. The next thing that we have is we have the Pro Q, just ducking out a little bit of that low end. So let's do a before and after on that.
With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over before they even start. With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart.
So it's kind of subtle, but it definitely makes the vocal sit a little bit better, cutting out some of that low end frequency information. And the next thing that we have is we have the SSL, which is going to boost a little bit of top end around 10K. And let's see what that sounds like before and after.
With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over before they even start. With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are.
Again, kind of subtle, but adds a nice little bit of air to the vocal, but it also brings up some of the S's, which we're going to take care of a little bit later with the de-essers. The next thing that we have is we have the Pro C vocal compressor. So let's turn this on next, see where we're hitting.
With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over before they even start. With the smoke going on in your heart, with the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you.
Again, we're hitting around 3 dB of compression, and it just levels out the vocal a little bit more. And then the next thing that we have is the RVox mono, and this is where the vocal really takes a big step forward. So let's turn this on.
With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over before they even start. With the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart, like your dreams are over with the smoke going on in your heart, it'll try to pry you apart.
So we are compressing a little bit harder than 3 dB. We're hitting anywhere from 3 to 6 dB, but this compressor sounds really good and really just pushes the vocal up front and in your face. And remember, when you're using this vocal chain, it is okay to come in and slightly tweak these compressors just a little bit if you need to, just to get them, sounding like, a little less compressed or a little more compressed, whichever one you want. It is fine to adjust these a little bit, but usually they stay pretty close to this area in terms of, the settings that they're set at, pretty much for every song that I do. And at this point, you can hear that the S's are a little aggressive. So let's turn on the de-essers.
With the smoke going on.
And listen to that first S.
With the smoke going on. With the smoke going on. With the smoke going on.
Let's listen to the second one.
With the smoke going on it. With the smoke going on it. With the smoke going on. With the smoke going on in your heart.
It's kind of subtle, but it does tame that S a little bit. However, from here, this is not the only thing that we do. So we've got this, we've got this vocal chain on these lead vocals, and so far it's sounding a lot better. So
Well, there's more going on in
we went from this
Well, there's more going on in your heart. It'll try to pry you apart.
to this.
Well, there's more going on in your heart. It'll try to pry you apart.
Sounds a lot better, right? Now, there's one other thing I do here on the lead vocal bus. So these tracks are going to the lead vocal bus, and I have another Pro Q. Now, this is subject to change. This is usually pretty flat with maybe just a curve right here. Again, kind of bringing out some of those lows that we brought up with the compressors. This is just kind of from the session that I did. This isn't necessarily saved like this all the time. But we have an EQ up here just to help carve out some more frequencies if they need to be carved out after doing all that compression. And, just a way for me to be able to kind of process the vocals a little bit together and maybe, deal with any frequencies that poke out throughout the mix. And then from there, we've got one more thing, and that is a limiter. So we've got the Joel Wanasek Bus Glue vocals, and I love this limiter. This really just allows us to control the volume of the overall lead vocals, and if I need to limit the vocals, then I can. So let's see what this is doing.
Well, there's more going on in your heart. It'll try to pry you apart. Like your dreams are open. What's in when words are too late? Betray you the longer you wait. Maybe it's true. You can hang it on the star. Is that what you want?
So this Joel Wanasek Bus Glue vocals really just not only allows me to control the volume with a limiter, but it also allows me to catch the peaks. And it's kind of hard to tell on this limiter because the color is dark, but you can see where it is actually getting limited at certain points, keeping the vocal under control. And with all that compression that we have layered, we don't have any one compressor that's causing a lot of pumping or doing too much work. And we actually have all of them, doing a little bit of work, which really helps to get the vocal nice and upfront and in your face. And pretty much from there, we would just use, a little bit of EQ or anything else we needed to dial this in just a little bit more. But this is my personal favorite vocal chain to get my vocals right up in front, right up in my face every single time. And if you guys want to copy this exact chain, you can go back through and you can just, copy all my settings, just pause the video and look at what my settings were. But this is the exact same vocal chain that I use, and this is what works for me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like on the video. Be sure to leave me a comment if you have any questions. And of course, if you'd like to work with me and potentially have your music featured on this channel and have me mix your music and teach you how to mix your music, then I will leave a link in the description for you to apply to work with me. And I definitely look forward to hearing from you. And I will see you guys next week. Peace out.